Hi guys, so I'm really tired because yesterday I went to the Foo Fighters gig in MK Bowl, and I was there from, well, I got up and we left at 9 in the morning and I got back at 2 in the morning, like the next day. So I'm really tired and I look like rubbish, but I don't mind. This video is going to be about what you kind of need to bring with you, what you need to remember, and things to bear in mind when you're at a concert, whether it's outside or inside. First I'm going to start off with whether you are outside or inside, and then I'll move on to outside specifically afterwards. So if you don't know if your venue is outside or inside, I would suggest looking it up, like on the internet, or asking friends and things, because you know, I kind of tend to assume that they are inside, obviously unless you're at a festival or something, but I would definitely check, because you don't want to, like, you know, think, oh, I'll be inside, this will be fine, I won't be too cold or anything, and then you get there and it's outside and you're freezing or you're burning or things like that. So you want to check that first. So I've written a list of stuff that I personally think is kind of vital that you should bring to a concert or a gig or whatever. I probably have forgotten loads of stuff. I came up with this idea 2 days ago, so the day before I went, and I kind of planned on doing it on the day I went, but because I went so early, I know it wasn't early, but it was early for me, and I was out all day, I just didn't have time. So I have been thinking about it a lot, but knowing me, I have still probably forgotten something. So it's split up into altogether, like, wherever you are, this is what you will need. And then at the end I'll put extra stuff if you're outside. If I do forget anything, then it will be down below. So makeup wise, I would suggest minimal as possible. Also anything long lasting you may have. I don't know, for example, yesterday I deliberately made sure that I definitely had my Urban Decay primer potion on. If you have foundation primers, things like that, anything that you feel will last a long time is good. I'll go into more detail about that in the outside section. Shoes, right. Wherever you are, you need to make sure you have decent shoes. I should mention now though, I'm basically talking about the people who will be the ones who are stood up, really kind of in the crowd. If you're planning to sort of, I don't know, if there is a seating area, go to the seating area. If you're planning to be, you know, well back and stay away from it all, then you can, it's pretty flexible what you can wear. But I'm talking about if you're actually going to be in the crowd, like, you know, right near the mosh pits and things like that. So shoes, you want to wear sensible shoes. And ever since I went to a concert a few years ago, I was wearing Vans, but not like the trainer ones, like, you know, the ones that are kind of like dolly shoes, but Vans. They were kind of like them, and I lost them. I found them at the end, which was good, but like during the actual gig, like, so many people stood on my feet, I just lost them. You could fall over. That is always a possibility. So the shoes that I have, like, always worn since, Converse. These are one of my pairs. I have two pairs. These ones are slightly a bit too big for me. I also have like a yellow pair with bunnies on, but obviously these fit, like, these go with more outfits. But basically any shoes that really tie up, like, you can really tie them up and they will stay on your feet. I don't have a pair, but probably Doc Martens, because they're like quite solid, because you may have people standing on your feet. You know them boots a lot of people have now, kind of like rider boots, them kind of things would probably be okay as long as they're like securely on your feet. Your feet may get hot, but it will be worth it if they stay on. If you are going to some sort of festival, I would suggest wellies. I'm personally have never been to a festival like camping. I've been to like a day and it's been called a festival. But I would suggest wellies. These are a pair that I have from Asda, which, you know, are quite nice. I've got a nice little detail. I bought them last year. And they're obviously very clean, so I haven't really worn them. But yeah, if you go to a festival, wellies are pretty vital. For a bag, if you're going to bring a bag, for example, if you don't have any pockets, or if you need to bring something that won't fit in a pocket, then a small bag would be suggested. Also, one that goes across your shoulder. This is an example of one. I bought this from H&M. It's really small. This isn't what I brought yesterday because I'll explain in a minute. But yeah, this is just from H&M, and you can see it goes across the shoulder, which you really want to do, and you want to keep it like you know, not exactly holding it, but at the front of your body at all times. The one I took looks like this. Well, I actually got this from like a car boot, but it says it's from New Look in it, so obviously it's quite old, but you know, originally from New Look. But this, you know, still again goes across the shoulder, and basically I'm on antibiotics at the moment, so I kind of had to make sure that during the day before I was actually before I could buy water, I could have a bottle of water, and this was big enough for that. I would suggest putting your phone's valuables in a safe place. My phone, personally, if I have one, I like to keep it in my front pocket of, you know, my jeans or shorts, whatever I'm wearing. Never put it in your back pocket. You might be okay with your bag, but if someone nicks your bag, at least you've got your phone. I also, for money, I would suggest bringing, you know, not a lot, maybe like a tenner, maybe £20 in actual cash. I don't know if they take cards actually. If you're inside, they would usually take a card, but I don't know. If you take a card, make sure that's one that, like, if you do lose it, you can cancel it like the minute you get home. I kept mine in a little zip in my bag, and I just took a tenner, so if someone nicked it, I'm not going to miss it. You may want to bring money for things like merchandise, like tops and things like that. You want to bear that in mind when you're buying food. You might want to buy that first. There will be a lot of queues. Before you go, you want to put on deodorant. They may not allow you to bring deodorant inside. Sometimes they're a bit funny about bottles and the size of the bottles and things like that, so you want to make sure that you do put on deodorant first, unless you want to be gross. But really, when it all starts, everyone smells pretty bad, so you won't exactly stand out or anything. For clothes, you need to wear something light, but you kind of want to bear in mind that you will be really hot inside, but when you leave, it will be freezing, because you're leaving at, you know, 10, 11, maybe midnight, maybe later, so it will be cold. What I wore yesterday was like a tank top. I would show you, but it's in the wash. It's just a tank top, and then shorts, and then tights. If you are fine without tights, just don't wear tights. And then my Converse. I also had a purple cardigan, which it was a really hot day, so I had it off most of the day. And then when we were walking out, because it's kind of weird, because you're outside, but then you're with loads and loads of people, so you're boiling hot. And the minute you go away from that crowd of people, you do get very cold. You want to bear that in mind, like how far away you're parked, how far you have to walk to get, say, a train station you need to go to, things like that, and whether or not you can bear the cold. You might want to, say, bring a pair of leggings that you can just slip on, things like that. For hair, if you have long hair, it will get pretty hot. I wore my hair down yesterday, but it was very hot, and I was there doing this and stuff, so you might want to bring a hairband. Ignore that weird colour. Yeah, you might want to bring a hairband so you can just tie it up, especially if you do have really long hair, if you have really thick curly hair, things like that. I would definitely not recommend doing your hair for it. I know it's nice to feel nice and everything and do your hair up, but if you do your hair in curls, it'll just be really frizzy by the end of it and not so nice. So now I'm going to move on to outside gigs. Firstly, you might want to check the weather forecast before you go. Kind of judge how hot or cold it may be from what the weather's been like around that time. If it's been hot around that time, I suggest bringing sun cream, having SPF makeup if you have it. If you want to wear something on your face, you know, SPF foundation, things like that can just really come in handy. I'd also suggest bringing sun cream, which I actually forgot yesterday, and if you've noticed, I don't know if the lighting will show it, but like, I had like the weirdest burn like here. It's just so weird. We all had sun cream. I went with a group of friends and my boyfriend's dad. My boyfriend was there as well, otherwise that'd be weird. But yeah, and he brought sun cream, but we were all sharing it, and they had more, you know, finer skin than me, so I was like, yeah, you can use it. And I just used a bit, so I did get burnt in various places. And yesterday, while I was there, my grandma came in the afternoon to my house and said to my mum, give this to Clara. And how handy would this have been? It's a teeny tiny sun cream for my bag, and this is just from Marks and Spencer's. Obviously I don't know how much it is because my grandma bought it. It's SPF 30 on the go face and body lotion for all the family, high protection, fragrance free and hypoallergenic, water resistant and photostable, dermatologically tested. Just a side note, when I did science when I was at school, hypoallergenic, I always thought that meant something that kind of, you know, repels water, and then it says water resistant, so what does that mean? I don't get it. Okay, or is that just me getting confused? Anyway, yeah, so something like this to stick in your bag would be really, really, really helpful. If there is a big group of you, you may need a bigger one. I suggest putting some on before you go and reapplying while you're there, especially if you've been sweating and if it's a really hot day. As well as SPF lip balm. I suggest Carmex. It comes in, this is just the cherry flavour. There's a normal flavour, which I actually prefer, but whatever. There's a cherry flavour, which comes in a little thing like this. I bought this yesterday. I had fake nails, which I've taken off now, and I couldn't, because when it's at the top it's fine, but then because I don't want to get my nails like filled with stuff, I barely used it, so I did get burnt lips. So, because I couldn't find this one, which I found this morning, and so, you know, you could take a squeezy one. These are both SPF 15. You can probably get different ones, like whatever SPF lip stuff that you have. Again, depending on your weather conditions, you may need to bring something like a raincoat. I would suggest like one of them thin ones that you can kind of fold up and stuff. That are kind of ugly, but you know, you want it to be thin because you're still going to be in a big crowd, unless you don't really care. But I suggest you kind of do bring it for if you're walking in or if you're out and while you're waiting and things like that, because you kind of don't notice the weather when it's like, you know, the bands are playing and things like that, but when you're waiting everything's just like you might want to bring a hat. You may lose it. I would suggest kind of like a straw hat type thing. I don't really like wearing hats, but if you don't mind it, you can bring one. You also might want to spray your hair with heat protection, maybe bring some with you if you have a travel size. I didn't, and I think my scalp's a bit burnt, but it's not too bad, so it's okay. While you're waiting, you might want to bring food or water, especially depending on like how long you're going to be waiting for. If you go like a few hours earlier, you're going to need water to keep hydrated. Where I was, we weren't allowed to bring in a bottle over a litre, I think it was. So even if you do bring a bottle over a litre, you know, just make sure you drink it and you keep hydrated. You can buy drinks inside, which are stupidly expensive, but you can still buy it. And just while you're waiting in the queue, it's just really important to make sure that you are hydrated. And last but definitely not least, make sure you bring your ticket. It doesn't really matter, it's folded up. Mine just happens to be like straight because it was in my bag. You could like bring it in your purse or your wallet. You know, it doesn't really matter if it's bent, as long as they can scan it or rip off the thing. But yeah, just make sure you have fun and that nature and things like that just don't get in the way. Oh yeah, toilet stops, when you're outside, there will be kind of portaloos, and whether you're inside or outside, there will be a queue, especially when the band isn't playing. If say there are the main bands and then there are a few bands before that, if in the bands before that there are people you don't really, mind whether or not you see, I would suggest going then, or like when bands are playing is when the toilets and the stand will be empty.